Friends from the press, welcome to the regular press conference of the Foreign Ministry. I will first release two pieces of news. Member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Vice Premier of the State Council Ding Xuexiang will attend and address the opening ceremony of the 21st China-ASEAN Expo and the China-ASEAN Business and Investment Summit in Nanning, Guangxi on September 24th. Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim will deliver a video address. Foreign leaders and senior officials, including Deputy Prime Minister and Minister in charge of the Office of the Council of Ministers of Cambodia, Vong Savisos, Deputy Prime Minister of Laos, Keiko Kampiton, and Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance of Vietnam, Dot Hoc Foc, and Secretary General of ASEAN, Kao Kim Horn, will attend the opening ceremony. Member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Secretary of the CPC Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission, Chen Wenqing, will attend the first meeting of China-Uzbekistan Law Enforcement and Security Cooperation Mechanism in Uzbekistan and visit Uzbekistan and Tajikistan upon invitation from September 23rd to 28th. Now I would like to take your questions. CCTV. On September 22nd,
Sri Lanka's Election Commission announced that Arua Kamara Dissanayaka, candidate of National People's Power, won the 2024 presidential election and was elected as Sri Lanka's new president. What's China's comment and expectation of China-Sri Lanka relations? Sri Lanka's presidential election was held smoothly on September 21st. China expresses heartfelt congratulations to Mr. Dissanayaka, who was elected as Sri Lanka's new president and was sworn into office. President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory message to him. China and Sri Lanka are traditional friends and close neighbors. We stand ready to work with President Dissanayaka and his new administration to advocate the essence of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, carry forward the traditional friendship, forge greater synergy between our development strategies, deepen high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, and strive for new progress in our strategic cooperative partnership featuring sincere mutual assistance and everlasting friendship. Next one, please. NHK. The foreign minister between China and Japan will be held in New York. What's China's expectation of the meeting and what topics will be on the table, and whether the two sides will further talk about the resumption of seafood imports and whether they will talk about the stabbing incident in Shenzhen.
The bilateral meeting between the two foreign ministers. As far as I know, the two sides are maintaining communication. We will release information in due course. Next question.
您好，中国日报提问。
China Daily. It's learned that the 57th session of the Human Rights Council held an enhanced interactive dialogue on the situation of human rights in Afghanistan recently. Some representatives at the meeting expressed concerns over women's rights and interests in Afghanistan. The Chinese representative called for encouraging, in a spirit of equality and respect, the governing authorities of Afghanistan to gradually improve and strengthen protection of women and children's rights. What's your comment? The Chinese government attaches great importance to the protection of women's rights and interests. We noted that the governing authorities of Afghanistan have underlined multiple times the need to respect and protect women's rights and interests. We hope Afghanistan will deliver on these policy commitments, take seriously the legitimate concerns of the international community, and work with relevant parties to resolve the issue through friendly consultation. That said, women's rights and interests are not the entirety of Afghan issue, nor the core or root cause of the issue. issue. As a report of the UN Secretary General pointed out, 23.7 million people in Afghanistan will require humanitarian assistance in 2024, and 12.4 million Afghans are currently experiencing high levels of acute food insecurity. The international community needs to focus on the most pressing difficult Afghan faces, promote the rebuilding and development in Afghanistan, improve Afghan people's well-being, truly protect the human rights of the Afghan people, and at the same time encourage, in the spirit of equality and respect, the governing authorities of Afghan to improve and strengthen protection of women and children's rights. As Afghanistan's neighbor and a responsible country, China stands ready to work with the rest of the world to continue providing assistance to Afghanistan and playing a positive role in the peaceful reconstruction and protection of human rights in Afghanistan. Next one.
你好，彭博社的记者。
Bloomberg, over the weekend in the United States, the Quad Summit witnessed some remarks by President Biden. He said that China is aggressive and testing the Quad countries. What's your comment?
The Quad in the U.S. strategy is identified as the premier regional grouping in the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy. It is a tool the U.S. used to contain China to perpetuate U.S. hegemony. The Indo-Pacific strategy attempts to patch up forces to exclude and contain China by peddling the China threat narrative, and tries to master military and security cooperation under the pretext of maritime issues. Same intention. The U.S. claims not to target China, but the topic highest on the agenda is China. The U.S. is lying through its teeth, and even media in the U.S. does not believe it. China believes that cooperation between countries should not target any third party or even harm their interests. Any regional initiative should follow the overwhelming trend of the region and promote regional peace, stability, and prosperity. Ganging up to form exclusive groupings undermines the mutual trust and cooperation between regional countries, runs counter to the overwhelming trend of pursuing peace, development, cooperation, and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific, and is bound to fail. The U.S. needs to get rid of its obsession with perpetuating its supremacy and containing China. Stop using regional countries as its tool. Stop glossing over the strategic intention behind all kinds of exclusive groupings, and act on its word that the revitalization of its alliances is not targeted at China, instead of seeking selfish gains at the expense of other countries' strategic security and the well-being of the people in the Asia-Pacific. Next question.
CCTV, what's China's expectation of the 21st China ASEAN Expo and the 21st China ASEAN Business and Investment Summit? ASEAN is a priority in China's neighborhood diplomacy and a key region in Belt and Road cooperation. Since the establishment of comprehensive strategic partnership in 2021, China-ASEAN relations have maintained sound momentum all around. Cooperation has moved forward on a high level, and the closer China-ASEAN community has made solid progress. Since 2009, China has become ASEAN's biggest trading partner, and the two sides have been each other's top trading partner for 4 years running. In the first 7 months this year, the two-way trade reached $552 billion, up by 7.7% year-on-year. From January to July, China's industry-wide foreign direct investment in ASEAN topped $12.96 billion, and ASEAN's foreign direct investment in China stood at $7.3 billion, up by 15.3% and 14.1% year-on-year. China-ASEAN Expo is an important platform to deepen China-ASEAN cooperation and promote economic integration in the region. This year, the Expo is themed Upholding Amity, Sincerity, Mutual Benefit and Inclusiveness for Common Development, Creating a Diamond Crown New Future. China is ready to work with ASEAN countries to make use of the platform offered by the Expo, take the upgrade of the China-ASEAN Free Trade Area as an opportunity, further expand trade and two-way investment, strengthen the connectivity of industrial and supply chains in the region, and unleash potential of practical cooperation across the board to achieve higher standard mutual benefit and win-win cooperation and build a closer China-ASEAN community with a shared future. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京日报记者提问：据报道，为帮助救治孟加拉国境。
Beijing Daily is reported that the Chinese National Emergency Medical Team traveled to Bangladesh on September 22nd to provide medical treatment to those who were injured during the recent incident in the country. What's your comment? Competent Chinese authorities released the relevant information. At the invitation of Bangladesh's interim government, the Chinese National Emergency Medical Team traveled to Bangladesh in a race against time. During their stay there, the medical team will make use of their know-how and do their best to provide humanitarian medical treatment. Let me stress that China and Bangladesh are friendly neighbors and comprehensive strategic partners. China stays committed to the policy of good neighborliness and friendship with all people of Bangladesh and will work with Bangladesh to strengthen exchange and cooperation in various fields and further deepen the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership between the two countries. Next one, please.
下午好，法新社提问
AFP. A follow-up question on Sri Lanka. New president of Sri Lanka was sworn into office today. Does China have confidence that Sri Lanka will honor their commitments to repayment to China?
作为斯里兰
As a friendly close neighbor of Sri Lanka, China hopes that Sri Lanka can maintain national stability and development. China is also ready to, based on no interference in internal affairs, play a constructive role for the stable development of Sri Lanka. Next question.
据报道，北京时间9月22日晚。
China News Service is reported that on the evening of September 22nd Beijing time, the Global Digital Compact was officially adopted at the UN Summit of the Future. What's China's comment? China welcomes the adoption of the Global Digital Compact at the UN. The compact aims to put development front and center, promote benefit for all and inclusiveness, advance innovation-driven development, preserve cultural diversity in the digital space, and foster an open, fair, inclusive, and non-discriminatory digital environment. These principles have much in common with the visions of China's Global Development Initiative and Global Civilization Initiative. The compact proposes to adopt common standards of global data security and hold a global dialogue on AI governance and intergovernmental consultations. These measures are consistent with what need to be done to develop China's global initiative for AI governance and global initiative on data security. The compact follows the prevailing trend of promoting digital development and cooperation in the world, reflects the urgent call of all countries, especially global south countries, to close digital divides and wipe out governance deficits, and demonstrates the common aspiration of the international community to respond to digital opportunities and challenges and build an inclusive, open, fair, and secure digital space through cooperation. The compact shows international support for multilateralism and digital solidarity and cooperation, and gives a strong boost and source of vigor to global digital governance. China has stayed committed to promoting global digital governance with the UN as the main channel. constructively involved in the whole process negotiation of the compact and played an important role in the adoption of the compact. Going forward, China will, as always, uphold the principle of planning together, building together, and benefiting together, and work with the international community to promote global digital governance, implement the Global Digital Compact, and build a community with a shared future in the digital world. Next one, please.
还是彭博社的记者。
Bloomberg is reported that Vice Foreign Minister of Japan arrived in Beijing yesterday in order to discuss the stabbing incident in Shenzhen. Could you share more details with us? A second question, will China release more information about the incident, for example, the motives of the suspect?
今天上午，外交部副
This morning, Vice Foreign Minister Sun Weidong met with Vice Foreign Minister of Japan. The two sides exchanged views in China-Japan relations and questions of common interest. The two sides reiterated their attached importance to develop China-Japan relations and agrees to work together to implement the common agreement between the leaders of the two countries to promote the strategic relationship of mutual benefit. On the attack on the boy in Shenzhen, the two sides recognized the efforts to coolly settle down the unfortunate incident and agrees to maintain communication and avoid individual cases to affect the bilateral relations. On the specifics of the incident, the case is still under investigation. Shenzhen authorities have released relevant information. China will provide assistance to the bereaved family. Next one.
阿纳多鲁通讯社据报道，据以色列媒体报道，中国大使馆在以色列要求中国公民撤出该国，回到中国，这是根据周六的一份声明。同时，大使馆要求中国公民不要暂时前往以色列。为什么会发出这样的旅行警告？为什么会要求公民撤退呢？
我们确实刚刚发布。
We did release relevant reminding safeguarding Chinese national safety in overseas countries is our due responsibility. Next question.
发言人您好，凤凰卫视记者提问：上周是
Phoenix. Many people went to the scene of Shenzhen to send flowers for the victim. Many of them were Chinese nationals. They show their condolences to the boy and send sincere sympathies to the bereaved family. What's your comment? I also noted the situation. China regret and mourn for this unfortunate incident. I believe that the voluntary action of these Chinese nationals show the most sincere attitudes of Chinese nationals, our respect for lives. Chinese civilization respects honesty and goodwill. It features inclusiveness and peace. We will, as always, continue to treat foreign friends with sincerity and treat them all as equals and guarantee the physical safety and property safety of all foreign nationals here in China. Next question.
AFP. A follow-up question on Quad. At the joint statement released on Saturday, leaders of Quad expressed grave concerns on the situation in the East China Sea and the South China Sea. It referred to China. Did China protest to these countries?
Currently, situation in the South China Sea and the East China Sea maintains over stability. Some countries outside the region continue to form exclusive circles, try different ways to interfere in China's internal affairs. They attempt to form exclusive circles, escalate the situation. I want to stress that any interference of any forces will not shake China's firm determination to uphold territorial sovereignty, maritime rights and interests, and uphold regional peace and stability. On your second question, for any action that undermines China's security interests, we will lodge solemn representations to that. Next question.
《英托报》追问四边机制会议。这一峰会也第一次通过了联合海洋训练计划，同时将会加强在印太地区的合作，同时也肯定了印度在印度洋太平洋区域海上培训倡议的作用。您对此有何评论？
国与国之间的合作
Cooperation between countries should be conducive to regional peace and prosperity rather than form exclusive circles under my mutual trust and cooperation between countries. China is open to countries to have normal cooperation, but relevant cooperation shouldn't target other countries in the name of cooperation and shouldn't undermine regional and peace stability. Next question.
AFP. It's reported by some media outlets that the Department of Commerce of the United States plans to propose the ban of Chinese softwares in the use of manufacturers of internet-connected vehicles out of national security concerns. Did China have already had communication with the U.S. on this issue?
你提到的具体问
On the specifics of your question, I'd refer you to competent authorities. I'd like to stress more broadly that China rejects the U.S. to impose security implications on security. We urge the U.S. side to respect market principles, provide an open, just, fair, transparent, non-discriminatory business environment for Chinese companies. China will firmly uphold its own legitimate rights and interests. Next question.
印巴托，您表示，中方将会对于任何侵犯中国安全利益的各方提出抗议。那么，根据这一份联合声明，中方是否对于这一些四边机制的国家在东海和南海进行了侵犯呢？
As I've said, for any action that undermines China's security and interests, China will lodge representations. Next question.
Good afternoon. A question from Reuters.
路透社，斯里兰卡新总统曾经说过，他将会重新和 IMF 还有一些债权人的债务协调。在周四时，斯里兰卡表示敲定了和中国开发银行关于33亿元债款的协议细节。那么既然现在斯里兰卡有了新总统，这一项协议是否会发生改变？
斯里兰卡的友好。
As Sri Lanka's friendly close neighbor, the two countries have always respected and supported each other. We hope that Sri Lanka can maintain national stability and development. We also hope that, based on non-interference of internal affairs, play a constructive role for Sri Lanka's development and stability. Next question.
NHK. On the meeting between Japanese and Chinese vice foreign ministers, according to the readout of the Japanese side, Japan said that the comments on the internet about anti-Japan comments should be put in check. What's your comment?
You mentioned the so-called anti-Japan remarks on China's social media platforms. I want to tell you that in China there is no so-called Japan hatred education. I noticed that after the incident happened in Shenzhen, as I've mentioned, many citizens in China voluntarily went there to send flowers for mourning, praying for everlasting friendship between the two countries. We propose to take history as a mirror, not to extend the hatred, but not to repeat the tragic of war, and cherish the hard-won peace and embrace the future in a better way. We are ready to work with Japan based on the 4 political documents, comprehensively promote the strategic partnership of mutual benefit, and build a constructive and stable China-Japan relationship that fits the needs of the new era. Next question. Any other question? Then that will be the end of today's regular press conference. Thank you.